Imagine a cheesecake so light it wobbles, so soft it melts on your tongue, so fluffy it feels like eating a cloud. That's Japanese soufflé cheesecake. If you want the written version of this recipe with full troubleshooting and tips, Google soufflé cheesecake Sudachi to find me. So first, I always start this recipe by separating the eggs. I'm using 3 large eggs, about 50 grams each without the shells. If possible, I recommend cracking cold eggs straight from the fridge because the yolk is firmer and less likely to break. Pour the whites into a large mixing bowl because we will be making a meringue later. I'll crack the whites into a small bowl first so that if I accidentally break the yolk, I don't compromise the ones I already successfully separated. Set those aside for later and preheat your oven to 160 degrees Celsius or 320 degrees Fahrenheit. While we wait, let's prepare the base of the cheesecake. I'm using 120 grams of full fat cream cheese and I'm just gonna roughly break it up and place it in a small saucepan. Make sure to use the block type cream cheese and not the spread, because spreadable cream cheese has extra water and emulsifiers that can throw off the liquid ratio. Next, add 15 grams of unsalted butter and 90 grams of whole milk. I use gram measurements for everything so I can easily weigh it on my digital scales. Okay, we're gonna heat this on the lowest setting until the cream cheese is almost melted. Stir continuously and be careful not to let it bubble as this can split the milk or cause a skin to form which will create lumps in the butter. This is mostly smooth now, so we're gonna take it off the heat and keep stirring so that the cream cheese finishes melting with the residual heat. We want the pan to cool down for the next step, so while we wait, let's prepare the cake pan. I'm using a 15 cm 6-inch cake pan today. My pan has a removable base, which is actually not ideal for this recipe because water can seep when we bake it in the hot water bath. To prevent this, I'm wrapping the base with foil. Make sure it goes all the way up the sides and wrap it with 2 or 3 layers just to make sure no water can get in. We need to line it. I'm going to spread a thin layer of butter on my prepared baking paper and press them onto the base and edges. If your pan doesn't have a removable base, you can place 2 strips crossing over in a plus shape underneath and use the overhang-like handles to pull it out more easily when it's done. You will also need a roasting pan or some kind of wide deep pan, and we will pour hot water in here right before baking. Okay, the saucepan is cool now and I can touch easily. So now let's add the egg yolk one at a time and whisk well between each addition. If you add egg yolks while the pan is still hot, they might cook a bit, so it's important it's cooled enough. Next, I've got 20 grams of unbleached cake flour and 10 grams of potato starch, so mix those together in a small bowl, then sift them into the mixture and mix well. If you can't get potato starch, cornstarch works too. To make sure your cheesecake is extra smooth, pour the mixture through a fine mesh sieve into a large mixing bowl. This way you can make sure there are no random lumps of flour or cream cheese. We're going to finish the base with a pinch of salt, half teaspoon of vanilla essence, and zest of half a lemon. The lemon zest is optional, but it really adds a nice refreshing note to the cheesecake. Now it's time to make the all-important meringue. Whipped eggs using medium or medium-low speed, and we want them to be foamy and doubled in size. I always separate the eggs early so the whites have time to warm slightly. They can't reach their full volume potential if they're fridge cold. Once they look foamy, pour in half teaspoon of lemon juice and whip for another 10 seconds. If you use fresh lemon juice from the zested half, strain it to remove any pulp. Next, we have 70 grams of white granulated sugar. I'm gonna add half of it, then continue to whip on a medium-low speed until it's smooth and slightly glossy. I know the low speed takes longer and it's tempting to use a higher setting, but whipping on high makes large air bubbles that are unstable and pop easily. We want fine micro bubbles for maximum stability, which is why I keep my whisk on a lower setting. Okay, next drizzle in 2 teaspoons of honey. I know honey is a bit unusual to use in meringue, but I really wanted to make it as flexible as possible so that it doesn't crack in the oven. If you can't use honey, you can use agave syrup or glucose syrup instead. Once it's all incorporated, add the other half of the sugar and keep whipping on medium-low. We're looking for very soft peaks that fold over when lifted It shouldn't run, that would be underwhipped and can cause the cheesecake to collapse. But it also shouldn't have stiff peaks that point up because this can make the cheesecake more likely to crack. This is a sweet spot, soft, stretchy and folding over. Okay, meringue is ready, so we need to heat our water. You'll need enough water to fill your roasting pan 2 cm deep, a little less than an inch, and we're going to heat it to about 50 degrees Celsius. While we wait for the water, let's combine the meringue and cheesecake base. Start by adding about 1/3 of the meringue and whisk it gently but thoroughly. This is called a sacrifice because we're sacrificing some of the meringue's volume to lighten the base to a similar consistency. By doing this, it is much easier to fold in the rest of the meringue. Once it looks like this, continue to add the meringue 1/3 at a time, but this time fold in gently while turning the bowl. You don't need to switch to a spatula. I find whisk works better for combining them more efficiently. Just don't whisk it vigorously as this will deflate the meringue. When the mixtures are combined and there are no more white streaks, pour it into the cake pan. Place a spatula in the middle at a 45 degrees angle and paddle it up and down to send any large air bubbles to the top. Then we can pop them with a wooden skewer. Finally, pour your hot water into the roasting pan 2 cm deep. It shouldn't be boiling or too hot as this forces it to rise too quickly, but it shouldn't be cold either because that would lower the oven temperature. Now we're going to slide it onto the middle shelf and then place an empty baking sheet above it to protect it from harsh dry heat of my fan assisted oven. Reduce the heat to 140 degrees Celsius, which is 285 degrees Fahrenheit, and bake it for 50 minutes to an hour. We're looking for a cheesecake with a beautiful rise and coming away from the edges of the pan. Check it occasionally, and if it's rising too fast or showing any signs of cracking, you might need to lower your oven temperature, and don't open the oven while it bakes. After about an hour, turn the oven off, open the door a bit and wedge an oven mitt or something between the door to keep it slightly open. We're going to leave that for about 30 minutes to avoid sudden temperature changes, which can make it shrink and become wrinkled. Okay, it's finally time to take it out of the oven. It will still be warm and fragile at this point, so if you're worried about breaking, let it cool completely before taking it out of the pan. Don't be discouraged if it did crack, it will still be delicious. This recipe is difficult because all ovens behave differently, but each try brings you closer to success, so don't give up. Finally, I microwaved 1 tablespoon of apricot jam for 10 seconds and I'm just gonna brush it over the top for the finishing touch. Or you can dust it with powdered sugar if you prefer. You can enjoy it when it's warm and jiggly if you like, but I personally prefer it after a few hours chilling in the fridge. And that's it. Perfectly light, fluffy and crack-free Japanese souffle cheesecake. Perfect for any occasion. Want even more delicious recipes? Grab my free cookbook from the link in the description. Okay, let's go over the ingredients one more time. And if you're ready to cook, you can find a full printable version of this recipe on my website, linked right here on the screen. It has all the extra details to help you get perfect every time. If you enjoyed this, check out my Japanese sweets playlist. And next week, I'm making the ultimate teriyaki burger. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it. See you then.